Cigar Shop Africa. Right, sure.
And by that ominous jazz music, it sounds really like sometimes really like spooky, but it's actually called The Smoking Room. That piece of music, right? That's our theme song. And it's our theme song to what we do on Saturdays, which is the Saturday morning virtual pipe club from around the world. Yay! And these are all the fine people who are joining us here in the studio today. I've turned all your mics off, so you have to turn them back on so you can go, yay!
Hey, everybody.
Yay! Yay!
And a fantastically enthusiastic group they are as well. Just saying there. I don't want to get overwhelmed by all that. No, they're mellow, right? This is the mellow time of the week. They're all sitting back and smoking pipes. And we are also live streaming right now all the way to Facebook and YouTube. And if you're watching over there, I'm trying to see how many eyeballs we have watching. Doesn't tell me right now. But I know you'll be there because we're streaming live. And if you happen to pop in, drop a line in the chat. Tell us where you're from and what you're smoking. Last week, did you guys have fun last week? Anybody have fun? Yeah, last week we gave away a whole bunch of pipes. Oh, Rich Gallagher's over there says the audio and video is great. Thank you. These are my monitors online there that tell us each week. While you guys are busy chatting and whatnot, they help me keep track of whether there's an echo or this or that or the other thing. So thank you, Rich. Last week was our anniversary issue, and we gave away a ton of. Well, we didn't actually give them away. We awarded them. It was a kind of a raffle. So we bought a bunch of pipes, and people bought a ticket, and we gave away all of them, and they were fantastic. And I just wanted to make a couple of notes on that. The pipes went to two different destinations. Some of the pipes were already there in Chicago with Amu, and some of them were shipped to me. The ones that were shipped to me are on their way out. The ones that were in Chicago with Amu have already been shipped, so you should be getting your pipes very soon, any day now, if you haven't already gotten them. I know a lot of people have asked me about the shipping. I just have to find a moment to put it up on the website so that you can go back and pay. For now, though, don't worry about it. It's not delaying your getting your pipe at all. So it's coming regardless. We'll take care of we already took care of the shipping costs, and we'll just work it all out as soon as I have a spare moment. Other than that, Rich, I'm going to try something here, by the way. See, look, there's chat that can come up on the screen there. And Rich says, I have a title now. I'm the monitor. This is what I do with all my employees. I don't actually give them raises, just titles. They can tell everybody that they have a new title. Well, I had a thought for today. I was feeling a bit simultaneously springish and nostalgic. Earlier this week on Tuesday, as some of you may remember, was Paul Revere Day, and because of one of the classes that I teach during the day, we just had an occasion to read the poem aloud, and this was such a. I had forgotten how good that poem is. It's an amazing, amazing poem. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who is fantastic author and poet and great storyteller. Anyway, it put me in this mood to like reminisce and whatnot. So I thought today's theme would be favorite pipe memories, right? Like it says right there, favorite pipe memories. And I'd love to just share like the stories, and they don't have to be short, gentlemen. You can take as much time as you want to. Um, I read an article recently. Actually in a medical journal written by a doctor, but it was about how he used to smell in his grandfather's woolen jackets the faint smell of pipe tobacco, and how that was such a fond memory and probably inspired him to be a pipe smoker too. So I'd love to, like share those kinds of memories if you've got them. And that's our theme for the day. But first, we need to know whatever you're smoking and what you're smoking it in. So that's our ritual. And if you would all be so kind, put your electronic hands up, get in line, and we'll just we'll start with Tim. Take it away, my friend.
Oh, thank you, DDR. Good to see everybody today. So I'm smoking this tiny little Castello Sea Rock, and in it I have some Peter Stokeby Luxury Twist, which is a really nice sweet tobacco, Virginia flake, comes in an interesting looking shape. Nice little Castello that I got a long time ago. And after that, I think what I'm going to do is probably to go to something more along the English line. I'm looking forward to trying this GLP's geometry at some point. This is fairly new. I haven't even opened a tin yet, but I'm gonna smoke it in this Peterson 221S silver spigot. Now, what's interesting about this pipe is that I bought it a long, long time ago. I bought it like in the early 80s, and it's actually hallmarked about like 1982 or something. So it's really like 40 some years old. It's been a long time. It's tinier spigot, but it's really nice. So I'll probably smoke in English or something like that in it today. So with that in mind, I want to pass the virtual pipe over to Dave Harnack from Canada. Hello, Dave. Good to see you today. Thanks for being here. Tell us what you're smoking.
Thanks, brother. It's good to see you guys too. Just getting the day started off with a bowl of sixpence, which is nice little Virginia Perique with a touch of Kentucky in it, and it's been resting in a little bit of some kind of alcohol. I'm gonna assume it's rum, but it's a really nice rich blend. I'm smoking it in my little silver spigot poker made by our friend and brother Janos. It's a great way to start the day. Cup of black coffee, watching the snow melt. We had spring for about 2 days here, and then old man winter decided to breathe one dying breath on us with a 14 inches of snow and a blizzard on Wednesday. So that's where we're at. I'll pass the pipe over to, let's see, I got my screen all screwed up here. 1 second. Let's pass the pipe to our good friend Randall. Go ahead, Randall.
Thank you, Dave. Boy, you got hammered, huh? 14 inches? Jeez.
Yeah, it was gross.
That tend to piss a guy off. Let's see, today, one of my bones, kind of a newer one, as they call it, a square shank billiard. And it looks apple-like too. But anyway, in it, I've got some Watch City Cigars Persian slipper. It's a nice kind of Virginia blend, heavy on the Orientals, and it's got just a modicum of Latakia in it. So you get the hint of it, but not the full power. And it's really good. Afterwards, I'll probably switch to something heavier in the Latakia lines. But hey, there's David. He's got his hand up. David Johnson, how are you?
Hey, before you go running off to David, I wanted to ask you if you knew, or anybody knows, this is a softball. What is the significance of the name the Persian slipper? Tim knows.
Well, that's reportedly where Sherlock Holmes kept his tobacco, hanging on the
That's
mantle,
right.
hanging
That's
on the
absolutely
mantle,
correct.
and he put it in the toe of a Persian slipper, and he hung it there. I can't imagine how awful that must have been. But
Oh, I knew that, but I thought DDR was looking for a trick question. So
all right, David, you're up.
I'm up. Thank you. I've got my Heineck, and I've got BCA, and I'm using my newest acquisition, my Karibi, what is it, Karibi? Yeah, Karibi lighter. Got that in a raffle. So, yeah. Ah,
They're good lighters.
yeah, they are very good lighters. Yeah. I don't know if I'm getting down a little bit down in once in a while I get a blowtorch out of it. Sometimes they do that when you get low on pressure. So I'm not reading your palm there, Randall. But
No, I've got something on the screen that says I'm recording, but I don't know.
Oh.
I never set up anything to record.
yeah, I got it too. So
Okay.
I
All
think
right.
that's DDR's thing.
Ah.
So
It is, but I
I'm
can't
going
figure out how to
to,
turn it off. So I'm working on that.
Well, you can record. I don't care.
I am going to pass it on to our cigar shop way out in darkest Africa.
Hello, thank you. I'm finishing my Zeno Platinum Crown Series, and as soon as I'm done, I'll switch to one of my Nat Sherman pipes. This one is French made from early 1990s, and I'll have some Stockby Virginia flake in it. And let me pass the pipe to Sean.
Thank you. Right now, I'm smoking some Peter Stokeby's Twist, and I got a little bit of
Oh, that's cute.
pipe acquisition disorder when I saw this on an estate sale, which it's a Weeb radiator pipe. This is the first smoke in it, so I'll let you guys know what it's like afterwards. So far, so good. And I'll pass the pipe on to Chris.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. So see this. This is actually the raffle pipe that I won. See that one. So I did get this one this week. I was on vacation for a couple weeks, so a nice little surprise when I got home end of the week that the box was there. So first smoke in the new pipe. I've got some the 4th gen 1897 in that. Let's see. How about
Chris, before you go on
yeah,
there,
yeah.
tell us about the new pipe, man. That's one of the Nerup, isn't it? And
Europe? Yep, it's 4th gen made by Europe. Yep.
so tell us about
So
it.
liking it. Just lit it up just a few minutes ago. So far, nice. It's a good size bowl in there. So don't think I'll need another pipe for the meeting today. Yeah, I really love the. It's kind of hard to tell. Like the kind of the detail on the band is like a really cool. On that. So and the stain is it's kind of hard to tell, yeah, the contrast of stain is just fantastic on this one. So it was great. Definitely happy with this one because I was nice surprise by coming home and the box was there already. So that was great. And let's see, how about Janos? Still there?
Good evening, everybody. I smoke Cyprus Latakia in one in my creation. And I will pass the pipe to Miguel.
Thank you, Yanis. I appreciate it. I started my day with Tom Elton rusticated coffee with Orlick golden slice, and I'm smoking now the Castello Old Antiquary KK, and that one I am smoking a Raw Trace Marlin Plake. I just want to ask Dimitri. Dimitri, I have a friend that gifted me a cigar. It's Rocky Patel 20th anniversary. Have you smoked this one?
Yes, I smoked quite few of them. Well, in general, I'm not a big fan of Rocky Patel, but this one I actually like.
Okay, that's good then. He did pretty good then. Thank you. Because
it
as
is
soon as
a
he
very
as soon
good
as he
cigar.
gave it to me, as soon as he gave it to me, I was like, no, I'm gonna ask Dimitri about this. Thank you, Dimitri. I will
You're
pass
very
the
welcome.
virtual pipe club to our friend Ramachandran.
Thank you. My favorite pipes, and this is Winslow's creation, crown, Winslow's crown, and in this working one of my favorite Blackberries fire. Once I'm through to finish it off, I'll go to the ship in which I'll have my Blackberries number one. So that's what it is. So I'll pass it on to Glenn.
Hi, team. Hope everybody's having a nice weekend. Today, I'm enjoying a Criswell model 1893 bamboo shanked briar. Old pipe. I happen to have two of them, exactly the same pipe, and it works very well. And in it, I'm smoking Greg P's Charing Cross, and also a very good mild tobacco, very enjoyable. Okay, on to the next. Let's see. Pass it on to. Well, I'm not seeing any hands. Dave, do we have another hand up that I can't see?
Fred Eisensee is in the house here somewhere. Fred was another one of the winners last week. Fred, are you there?
Yeah, great to see everybody. And looking forward to the meeting. I'm not smoking anything right now since I'm in the house, but I've been enjoying my cobs and kind of going through Missouri Meerschaum's tobaccos and enjoying them. So looking forward to the meeting, and I guess back to DDR or Tim, see who else is left open. Good to see everybody.
Muted. Sorry about that, gentlemen. I know you guys could hear me in the Zoom room, but it wasn't going out over the airwaves. So, and that comment comes from my monitor, Rich Gallagher. Richard Otter is over there with the Peterson 02 XL, or is that a double XL? I don't know. With Bob's Chocolate Flake. I still haven't gotten myself any of that. I've got to get some. Michael Taylor is smoking a little Cherokee from Country Squire in an old Stanwell Hans Christian Andersen. Dublin shape. I love those. Doesn't that Hans Christian Andersen come with two stems? Does it come with a regular length stem and a church warden stem? Yeah, beautiful. Let's see who else is here. Anthony Anderson over there in the UK is smoking his Peterson B42 with some St. James flake. St. James, I love St. James flake. That's so delicious. And Peter over at Radiant Pipes. Hey, Peter, just said he just packed his mirror with some Solani 633 Virginia from 2018. Delicious. Okay, so here's what I am smoking everything in today. This is one of my new acquisitions. This is another Eldridge pipe. This is a bent acorn with a little bit bigger bowl. You know, I have my little bent apple that I smoke in, and it's just a little bit smaller. So this is another absolutely wonderful shape and good smoker. And in it, direct from the Persian slipper, a little Amphora English blend. So I'm in my happy place. There we go.
And DDR, can you say anything about the English blend? Have you had that yet?
Yeah, so this is, I would say that all of the Amphora blends from McBaron acquired Amphora as an already existing pipe company, tobacco company, and some years ago. And I don't know, to be honest with you, whether they introduced their own recipes or whether they're just continuing on with the recipes that Amphora already had. But all of the Amphoras are like a little bit milder, a little bit more of a good introduction to that particular kind of tobacco. And a lot of them are what I would say pretty standard tobacco genres. So here's the other one I've been spending. This is Kentucky Blend. So Kentucky Blend is stronger, a little bit stronger in flavor, not much stronger in nicotine content as far as I can tell, but it's representative of the Kentucky flavor, as this is representative of the English flavor. All of them have been blended in such a way that you do get the very good taste. They're I think, ways of finding out if you would like to try other examples, other companies' versions of those blends. Does that make sense? Like you say, so somebody says, like, what's an English blend? I don't know what that means. I keep seeing English blend, and I don't know if I like it. Then I would say, try the Amphora version, because that'll tell you whether you like it or not. Does that make sense?
It does. I was just wondering, is it like kind of a more mild or medium English? Is it like, is it closer to like early morning pipe or closer to like, Balkan Sobrani, which is like pretty heavy?
Yeah, I would definitely say closer to early morning pipe, in that mild range there. I have a dead tongue, so it's like I really favor very strong flavored tobacco, and I have a very high tolerance for nicotine. So like something, what was I smoking last week? Was really nice, heavy nicotine hit. This does not have that. This is a really good sort of mild, like you say, Tim, mild flavor.
I like the comment about the introductory value of these amphoras. Like that Virginia blend, I know Miguel can certainly vouch for this. It's really one of the best Virginia blends I've had, and I've had so many. And I think it's that would be a great introduction to somebody who's looking for that. And even if you've been a smoker for 89 years, it's just such a great tobacco for very inexpensive. It's really quality. And I like what they're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Amphora used to be one of the drugstore brands, and after McBaron acquired Amphora, they started introducing new tobaccos to Amphora line, like Virginia, English, Kentucky. Those are new tobaccos actually created by McBaron. They were not part of the original Amphora line.
Yeah, I wondered about that.
I recall the old drugstore amphoras being quite sweet Cavendishes in different flavors, but that's basically what they were, and they were cut quite coarse too.
Yeah. They, I remember, in the older days, you go to the drugstore and they have those big tubs of amphora tobacco, and they were all aromatics. But I'm really glad that McBaron actually decided to rethink the whole concept. And besides the original ones, they making some new ones which are pretty good.
I just finished a Amphora Black Cavendish, and if anybody is a new pipe smoker and they're kind of curious of what a Black Cavendish is like, it didn't seem to me to be overly aromatic. There wasn't it wasn't a heavy flavor, and it wasn't really what you'd call wet, like a lot of aromatics can be. So, if any new pipe smoker is looking to try an aromatic, the Amphora might be a introductory choice.
So I agree. And I am surprised it being a kind of introductory or generic kind of example of these tobaccos, how good the quality is. Like it doesn't, I'm looking around to see if anybody's going to jump down my throat. Not like Lane 1Q. It's, they're really good. Like they didn't scrape the bottom of the barrel to make these. They got some good stuff to make these blends with.
Yeah, it's nothing like a 1Q. 1Q has got aromatic. I mean, it's got Black Cavendish in it, but the Black Cavendish in the 1Q is vanilla flavored. But this might have just a little bit of a topping to it, but it's not much. There's not much there.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So just while we're on the Amphora thing, and just to kind of agree with the introductory thing, a lot of the times when we're meeting new friends in pipe clubs and stuff, a couple of the groups I'm in, we try to steer them towards, when they're trying to discover, is the Amphora sampler pack, and it comes with 5 different tobaccos. It's got the Kentucky blend, the Virginia blend, the Burley blend, the Black Cavendish, and the English blend, all in one pack. So it's kind of, the availability is sometimes sketchy, but it's a good little one-stop shop for a new pipe smoker. Then they can try those and then come back to the group and discuss the ones that they enjoyed the most. And then as a group, we can kind of steer them in a direction of more higher end, if you want to say. I don't want to diss Amphora at all, but things in the same genre as the ones that they enjoyed out of the sample pack. And speaking to the quality of Amphora, if you think about the Amphora Virginia, if you walk up to Mr. Per Gerg Jensen and ask him for a pinch of tobacco, he's going to pull out a pouch of Amphora Virginia out of his pocket, and that's what he's smoking all day long. So, take it from the man who knows, I guess, and I'll leave it at that.
I agree with you 100%, Dave.
The camera does that. This is why I'm rapidly like tapping it. I'm trying these new volume microphone toggles here today. I haven't yet in all the years figured out how to not do that when we're switching back and forth between members of the Zoom room. I know how to do it if we've got one guy. For example, I'll say, Dave, I'm going to use you for an example here. I'm going to spotlight you, and then I'm going to go over here and keep my microphones on. Now, Dave, you can talk. So say something nice to the friends at home.
Hi, something nice to the friends at home.
See, we can do that, and then the camera doesn't do that thing. But now I have to take him off of spotlight because
So I don't break their cameras.
Yeah, really. So, I had something I was going to share just because it's a topic that we all talk about from time to time, and that is tobacco prices and government regulations. And just a little insight, and then maybe we can all throw our rants into the ring there. So I recently read a report by the World Health Organization, whose mission is to stamp out tobacco use, or one of its missions, not the entire mission. Its mission is to find and recommend the ways of keeping the world healthy. You know, that's their mandate, and so they do all the research they do and come up with different recommendations. And for the most part, I agree with them because they got good scientists working there. And then we come to pipe tobacco, and I'm like, leave us the hell alone. You know, so, but raising prices is their strategy. And by the way, raising prices on tobacco is also one of the alternative strategies that the U.S. government is considering, bipartisanly, by the way, as ways of reducing the deficit by raising the tax on tobacco products. So pipe tobacco currently has a fairly, of all the different types of tobacco, has a fairly low tax. Cigarettes have a tax of $1 per pack.
No, yeah, not in Canada, DDR, unfortunately.
Well, in New
I'll
York
second that.
City, in New York City, tobacco tax is 75%. So when retailer buys pipe tobacco or cigars, regardless of whether they sell it or not, they pay 75% tax on that product.
Yeah,
And where is this? Where is this, Dimitri?
That's in New York, 75% tax, and they want to increase it to 95% actually.
So this, by the way, is on top of the federal taxes. This is in addition to federal taxes, right? So
Yes,
federal.
that's in addition to federal taxes, that's just New York. Additional 75% tax on all tobacco, pipe tobacco, and cigars.
Yeah, so cigars are federal taxes is 50% of the manufacturer's recommended sales price. So you get a $5 cigar from, Ashton or something like Ashton, and then they, so it's another $2.50. By the way, I don't think that you could find a $5 cigar. So it's a $10 cigar. So another $5. So that bumps the price up. And then you've got New York state tax on top of that. Pipe tobacco is only about $2.85 a pound for on the federal tax level, and that's like the lowest tax that they apply to on the federal level to any of the tobacco products. So they're still giving us a little break there.
Yeah.
But the way the world.
When I was working on that new tobacco plan for Bachelor X, Actually, just to create the blend, Joanna, manager from Backlerex, she was just buying some small amounts of tobacco retail online. And that buying retail from other places was actually cheaper than ordering tobacco for the store.
Yeah. Yeah, it's my favorite blend is, as you probably know, is Ampora Virginia blend. One of my favorite, and I can get it in the U.S. for $7.29 for a 50-gram pouch. Now, if we talk about taxes, even if the U.S. government decided to increase the taxes by 90%, and I'm gonna end up paying $11, I'll buy it because the Ampora Virginia blend in Canada, and not only that, there's no label of Ampora. It will cost you in my province about $39.95 on a 50-gram. So even if the government of the United States decided to increase the taxes, and I have to pay it, and they will increase from $7.29 to $11, I can guarantee you I will buy the tobacco. It's the exact same.
And it's still in Canada. It's not as bad as in Australia.
No, yeah.
No,
And then
no.
I want to, I this is off topic. I want to share a story about the for Virginia blend. I have to be honest with you. I know what I don't want to give this guy basically a platform here. This internet troll for the last, I would say, 2 years, keep on sending me instant messages and basically telling me that why do you put that tobacco in your pipe? I mean, that's a crap tobacco. Why are you? And I didn't actually respond to this guy for a long time. And finally, I said to myself, my friend, that is the reason why we are all different. We love what we love. And it's not because it's crap or bad. It just didn't work for you. That's the reason why. So I keep on ignoring this guy. But anyway, yeah. So the taxes in Canada, as Dave is basically showing the tin that he bought on brick and mortar here. I mean, my daughter basically bought me a tin 50-gram tin of I can't remember what the blend that is. It's $59.95 in my province. You have to take into consideration $59.95. On top of that, I have to pay 12% taxes in my province. So you're correct, actually, Dimitri. It's always almost the same as Australia.
Miguel, if you were to go overseas or go to the U.S., let's say you went
Yeah.
to the Vegas Pipe Show,
Yeah.
how much would you have to bring back in order to be required to pay duty at the border?
Well,
More
you
than
can get
200 grams.
200 grams is the most. Now, if you actually over 200 grams, what's going to happen is they're going to tax you to death. So what I normally do when I travel is let's say I slip trying to smuggle at least another 200 grams, you have to pay almost $300 in taxes. So basically, it's not good. It's not a good idea for me to basically give them the finger because I'm not going to give them the satisfaction. So basically, they're going to confiscate it. They're going to take the tobacco. And those bastards, I know some of them are freaking, pipe smoker. They're probably going to smoke it. But they're going to tell you they're going to destroy it. Same thing with cigarettes. You're allowed 2 rims of 2 cartons every time you cross the border. So here it's really, really bad when it comes to taxing tobacco. You're lucky if you order online, let's say smokingpipes.com. My tip with my fellow Canadians, do not buy any pipe tobacco and the company has the resemblance of smoking. As soon as they see that, like smoking pipes, once in a while it'll get through, but as soon as the Canada custom get a hold of it, I can guarantee you if you spend $60 on a 410s, the taxes will be about $300. So the only thing I can do is to basically just quietly is to pardon my friends is quietly I just want to tell them to fuck off. And, yeah.
Miguel, by the way, they don't lie to you. They will destroy that tobacco by burning it in their own pipes, 3 grams at a time.
Exactly. That's the way to do it. And not only that, the worst part in Canada is that when you buy an Ampora in the States, when I get it, I mean, it's pretty, it's nice because you can see the amphora. In Canada, it's all the same. It's like a green, basically green kind of military color. You don't even know what's inside of that, like that, like what Davey said. You don't even know if that's really the one. Yeah, but now actually I found out that the my brick and mortar here, what they do is they put it on top, but you can remove the sticker and then basically it will show the logo of the company. Yeah, I mean it's insane the taxes, but what are you gonna do? It is what it is. If you get away with it once, I mean, if you actually bought up tobacco from the U.S. and it basically you got lucky, it's like Christmas.
Yeah.
Yep, you gotta
I
you
was
buy it.
Miguel?
joking, Miguel, this stamp, this pretty little maple leaf stamp on here,
Exactly.
it says 50, which means 50 grams.
Yeah,
But I always tell everybody that the 50 means that's how much that little piece of paper's worth.
exactly.
Because that's how much more we pay for it than we do everywhere else, is
Yeah.
$50.
Miguel, the next time you
Just
go
bring
through
a couple of
customs,
those tins with
Take a-
you that are
take-
empty, fill
Yeah.
them in the States, and then bring them back and say, I already paid the tax on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I even tried this system because when my daughter was 12 or 13, but she looked older and my son was like 11. So I allowed every individual is allowed 200 grams. So and my wife as well. So I'm carrying 800 grams, and the guy from custom was like, "Come on, dude. It's like your daughter is less, below 18, and your son is 11." So basically, what they did is they got all the 400 grams worth of tobacco because my wife is allowed 200 grams. And then I asked them, it's like, because I love those blend. And I asked them, what's the taxes for the 200 grams? That time is about $478 in taxes for me to cross it. So, it is what it is here. But what are you going to do? I mean,
Once again, I think that this is an excellent job or a business opportunity here to form a new smuggling operation. Any pirates who want
yes.
We need like an American version of El Chapo that builds a tunnel underneath the Canadian
Yeah,
border.
exactly.
And
Miguel, the next time you go through customs, take a great big bag, the size of a pillow of
Yeah.
tobacco. They're gonna confiscate it. However, before they get it, you will have taken a bunch of rubber bands and
Yeah.
cut them into little bitty pieces and sprinkled them all through it. Then they can enjoy all they want.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of sad, actually, to be quite honest with you. I mean,
It's pathetic.
yeah, we are the canary in the coal mine in here because if you smoke, I mean, the government of Canada now is even now the alcohol in my province, they're trying to increase the alcohol again by 21% increase on top of what we're paying now. So I can
this is where I brought up the whole topic of the World Health Organization. So what they've determined was in their efforts to eradicate or to get down to as little as possible the usage of tobacco products, what they found out is that for every 10% increase in tobacco prices, tobacco usage decreases by 5% approximately worldwide. So country by country, they're going through and they're working with the governments to say, okay, every time that you jack up this price by increments of 10%, we're going to see an additional 5% of decrease in usage.
Yeah.
So, it's all that's my conspiracy theory for the day. I've only allowed one, but that's mine for the day.
Yeah, if they want to kill an industry, I think that's what they want. Now, this is the thing I don't understand, though. I mean, in Canada, especially in my province, you can buy legal marijuana here. You can go to a dispensary and you buy your marijuana. So the taxes that they're getting there compared to the taxes they're getting from the tobacco industry before, they're getting more taxes basically from the tobacco company. But what they did when they legalized pot, I mean, that's more dangerous to children than them smoking a pipe. Because if you smoke a pot, yeah, I mean, you can't even drive. I mean, you can if you're high tolerant on it, but the taxes that they're getting from the tobacco compared to pot is way more than. But for whatever reason, they legalize it and they trying to basically tax tobacco and alcohol to oblivion. To me, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, why would you do that? I mean, pot is more dangerous to children than smoking a pipe. But at the end of the day, what they do is, again, I think I shared the story here when one of our meeting, when basically, in 1994, when they basically testified in U.S. Senate. Senator Blumenthal basically is the one who asked every single. You probably heard about the seven dwarf. The seven dwarfs of basically the tobacco company in 1994 went to Senate, and Senator Blumenthal asked every single one of the senators, is nicotine addictive? These people, these idiots, are not chemists. They're fucking businessmen, Harvard graduate, and everything, but they're not chemists. And each and every one of them said it's not addictive. In 1994, when in my province, when people are going towards the healthy living now, gym proliferation in Victoria, where I live, there's a bunch of gym. As soon as basically that testimony happened in the US in 94, I knew right away that the tobacco industry in Canada is perfectly dead. Because what's going to happen is that we always follow what's going on there. But what we do in Canada is we don't just did follow you guys, but the taxes here. If the government of US will tax tobacco by 30%, the government of Canada will do 80%, just to basically kill the industry. It's just insane. I mean,
I think we found the topic that Miguel is passionate about.
I was going to say, DDR, you sure shook the beehive here on this one.
Did.
I
did.
My pipe smoking is, I swear, I mean, my doctor told me, how many pipes do you smoke in a day? I said I smoke maybe two bowl a day. And even my doctor told me, it was like, well, it is in moderation, you should be fine. But that's not the way the Health Canada actually look at it. No, we don't want to spend too much on healthcare. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna tax that tobacco to death to kill the industry. I mean, right now in Canada, if you want to buy a pack of cigarette here, especially in my city, they don't even show you the cigarettes. It's covered. So if you go to a store and buy a pack of cigarettes, there is no display. It's all closed out. And they're gonna open it for you if you tell them basically what brand of smoke do you want to buy.
All right, I'm moving us on. I'm moving us. Not that I don't think this is a really fun conversation, and it'll come back. So it's just that I had. It's easy on a topic like this when people have lots of fire about it to get lost in a single point of view or get lost in. And I'd really love to maybe we could start here with some stories about fond memories. So we've had the memories of getting bend over from the government when I'm buying tobacco or importing tobacco. But how about some happy ones? Dave Reniak?
Did you hear about the guy that insured his cigars?
Yeah, and claimed that they were destroyed in 20 cases of small fire.
He had a box.
Insurance company.
He had a box.
But
this guy had a box of 50 cigars, and he took out an insurance policy, and the insurance company took him to court, and they long and short of it was when they went into court. The judge says there's no exclusion on taking out an insurance policy on a box of cigars. Okay, fine. So the guy went home with an insurance policy in hand, and he enjoyed his cigars. And then he put in a claim to his insurance company that his cigars were destroyed in a fire. The insurance company took him to court and they charged him with 50 counts of arson.
Yep.
Yeah, I always liked apparently when Kinky Friedman was at the White House with Clinton, he tried to hand him a Cuban cigar, and Clinton looked at him and goes, "Do you know what this is?" He goes, "Don't think of it as supporting their economy, Mr. President. Think of it as destroying their fields."
Dave Hereniak, you've got a story, a fond memory.
Yeah, sure. Mine isn't so much about my own personal. Well, it might have contributed to it, but the beginning of my life in tobacco was as like a 3-year-old boy. On Saturdays when my dad would be home, and he had a little woodworking shop with a lathe and sanding and machines and stuff. So, and there would be some long shortwave radio he had playing stuff from all over the world, and you could smell the smells of like sanding different kinds of wood, and this crackling shortwave radio. And I'd be riding around in the garage on my tricycle, and Dad would be sitting there puffing on a pipe, and it was this exact pipe that he gave me, which is what started me pipe smoking. But he would be sitting there over top of his lathe, just smoke pluming. And the odd days where I think it was basically every second weekend, which would coincide with paydays, I guess, we would take a 45-mile trip to the city where I live now, because we didn't have any decent places in my hometown to buy tobacco. And we would take the little pilgrimage to each of the tobacco shops. And I can still clearly remember all of the smells of these tobacco shops, and seeing all these gentlemen standing there shooting the breeze about whatever the hot topic was that week. And I'd hang out as long as I could, and then Dad would get enthralled with his conversations with all these gentlemen and stuff, and I would get a handful of quarters or whatever, and there was a video game arcade right next door, so I would bugger off and go play video games. And then on the way home, he'd be smoking his cigar or new pipe blend. And so to me, that's probably my fondest tobacco memories, are just getting to go hang out with Dad and see all these places, and still remembering those smells like 45 years later. I don't know how long ago it was. It was plenty of time ago now for me. And being able to have the pipes that my dad was smoking in those memories that are now mine. So that's for me my fond memories of tobacco smoking.
Dave, what kind of tobacco did your father like?
Well, he doesn't even remember when I ask him now, but I remember the smell of it. And if I could equate it to anything, it would be something along the 1Q kind of thing, like like a aromatic-y kind of, I don't recall smelling any like pungent perique odors or anything like that. I was always some kind of that, or an English. I like the smell of Latakia is very distinct to me, and the smells of like Lane 1Q kind of ilk of tobaccos. So, he's 88 years old now, and he's not by any means forgetful, but he hasn't smoked in over 40 some years. So it's he doesn't really recall. And to even say what blend it was, how the shops back then, or even still today, have they buy whatever it is, Lane 1Q, and then they call it like Dave's House Blend or whatever. They rename it for their own shop. So I couldn't tell you honestly, but my memory serves that it was some kind of an English and some kind of a Lane 1Q-esque type blends.
Oh, it's a great story. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds like you had I mean, it's very, your memories are like, they're very inclusive about the, the shop and the different smells blending together and the journey with your dad, 45 miles to go buy some tobacco. And
Yeah.
it sounds like just a wonderful, wonderful memory.
Yeah. And the thing nowadays, sorry to butt in again, but you know, just to think nowadays, if you saw like a man smoking with his, you know, 4 or 5 year old child in the car, you know, people would be phoning the police now because it's
Yes.
now illegal to smoke in the car
Yeah.
with a child. Anyone under 16, if you're smoking in the car, you can actually be fined in Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah,
And Dave, how old is dad?
he's 88.
There you go. That I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell that story to my doctor.
Yeah.
My friend has 88-year-old still alive and pipe smoking.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, he stopped 40 years ago. So
it doesn't matter, Dave.
yeah, yeah.
88 years old.
Yeah.
We have a gentleman in my pipe club who's 95 years old. He still lives independently in an apartment and he drives his car. And he's been smoking a pipe forever. He's in 95. His thought process is totally clear. He's with it.
Yeah.
I know it's anecdotal, but there's another example of he's 95, he hasn't killed him. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. Tim, all I can say is just leave us alone. We're okay. We're not bothering anybody. Just leave us alone.
Dave Johnson, tell us your story, brother.
The first guy that I ever knew that smoked a pipe. Well, I wasn't around to remember it, but after he got out of the Navy, my dad smoked a pipe for a short time, but then he swore off of it, and he was, you know, venomously against smoking. My uncle, which is where I get my name from, he was Roger David. Okay. And so that's where that's where I get my name from. And he was a pipe smoker. And I think he used to smoke something like half and half or something along that line. I don't remember exactly what, but I always used to love to be over at his house because I loved the smell of his tobacco. And when I lived back east, you know, when I was in Florida, my first well, not my first tobacco shop, but I mean in Florida when I started buying my pipes more than, you know, having more than one at a time, was a tinderbox. And then after I came back from overseas, I was in Charleston and it was a place in the mall. And the company, it was like having my own tobacconist. Um, he, um, he would go trial and error until you found out what you liked as far as tobacco was concerned. And then he'd have your recipe in a Rolodex recipe file. And when I went in there and I said I want my blend, he knew exactly what it was. He'd pull it up in a Rolodex and he'd pull out all these buckets and whatever it took, and he would mix up, weigh up this and weigh up that, and put them all together and toss them like, you know, like this in a big old 5-gallon bucket. And I'd walk out with a pound of tobacco or something along that line. And they custom blended everything for everybody. If you wanted something that wasn't just a blend or just this or just that or whatever, if you wanted to toss flavors together, they'd custom blend it for you. And I went to that guy, geez, I got to Charleston in, I think it was 81, and I left there in 97. And that was my go-to tobacco shop the whole time I was there. And I went to the same guy. I went to the mall, and if there was anybody else behind the counter, I wouldn't go in there. But if that one guy was behind the counter, I would go in. He knew me before I even darkened the door, before I even walked in the door. And when I walked in the door, he treated me like, I was family, and, it was old, and I spent hours in this place, and we just swapped stories, and a customer would come in and he'd be helping the customer out, and I would buy something off the shelf and give it to the customer because I liked it, or whatever. And they had a lot of repeat business that way. And that's where that's the shop that I was in when I met Charlie Daniels, and Hank Williams Jr. came in, and I mean, that's my memory.
That's
Because
a that's a that's a
standout. That's the
yeah,
standout.
that's a great story, David. I remember you mentioning meeting some of those music stars like Charlie Daniels and whatnot before. So that's awesome. Let's move on. Ramachandran's got a story. Love to hear your story.
Yeah, thank you, Didier. Well, mine is not exactly a story. It's more about the fondest memory that I have of the first fondest memory that I have of my pipe smoking. I was just about 4 or 5 months old into active regular pipe smoking, and it was more of a ritual for me to get up in the morning and go for a morning walk, almost about 1.5 hours, light a pipe and walk briskly. Somehow it had become more mechanical. I was not really enjoying, because I never realized that pipe smoking is something to be done leisurely. You should never walk briskly, where you will never be able to ascertain the nuances of the flavor. Anyway, one day it just happened that after a brisk morning walk, smoking the first pipe of the day, when I came home and I sat down and sipped my first coffee of the day. And when I say coffee, I mean the typical South Indian filter coffee, which we prepare here, right from the stage of, the raw beans, which we roast and then we crush and make it a powder. Then we have a machine through which we filter it and come out with that black stuff called decoction, which we mix it up with the milk. So on that day, I came home and I picked up my second pipe for the day and I sipped it with my coffee. Oh God, that's the day I realized the power of pairing anything that you do, whether be it a cigar or a coffee or a pipe or maybe even for that matter, cigarette, though I've never smoked a cigarette. I mean, that's the day I realized how really delicious it was to have a pipe and a filter coffee early in the morning, accompanied with a good music. And since then, it has always been a bliss for me to pair it my first pipe of the day with a stiff, strong coffee and enjoy my music. So that memory, the first time when I had it, it's still fresh in my mind, and the taste of both that pipe smoke and that coffee, it still lingers in my mouth. I really can't forget that. So that's a day was able to appreciate. Of course, since then I've been pairing it with whiskey and other drinks also. But with coffee early in the morning, that's absolutely heavenly. And that blend that I had to pair it with my coffee was Old Joe Kranz, Bali blend. And I also somehow feel that Bali is the best pairing with the coffee. Maybe others may have their own feelings, may own taste and preferences, but I feel that Bali goes very well with coffee. So that's a fond memory. The first memory, when I really enjoyed smoking my pipe. And since then, it has become my morning routine to have my first pipe with my first cup of the coffee. That's it.
That's awesome, bud.
That's awesome.
I can taste it the way that you describe it there. And I agree with you that, you know, I know on the one hand that you're supposed to walk briskly to get your exercise in, but when I go out walking, I'm like Ramachandran, and I want to take a nice leisurely stroll. One of my favorite things to do, and I guess this is associated with my pipe smoking, is to walk through local neighborhoods and just see the house architecture, the landscaping they've got. This time of year, everybody's got flowers blooming and trees blooming, and and to smoke a pipe and to, sort of walk through there with a leisurely pace, just outstanding. Tim's got his hand up. I know Tim's got some good stories.
I can't wait for this.
I already told you guys about Peretti's story, so I'm not going to repeat that. But this was like back in the early 80s. I grew up in this little small town in Pennsylvania, really not much going on. And I started to get in, when I got to college, I was, into the pipe smoking. And I can't, not even sure exactly how I found this out, but I discovered that there was a pipe shop in New York City called the Connoisseur Pipe Shop. And I remember sending away for the brochure, and the brochure came, and I thought, this looks really incredible, and I'd like to go there someday. So at one point, I'm with my wife, who she had some relatives in New Jersey, and so we were in New Jersey. The plan was to go into New York City, so I'm going to get to go into Manhattan and go to the Connoisseur Pipe Shop. So I went down into Manhattan, and I went to the store, and it's really interesting store, really narrow store, very small store, and you have to ring the doorbell outside. They only let in one customer at a time. And I remember it's like a really sort of overcast, really super blustery day with the wind. So I go in there, and I meet Mike Burak, who was the designer of the pipes. And I spent about an hour in there looking at all the different pipes and tobaccos. And so this is the pipe that I bought. Now I broke the stem on this. I will fix this, but this is he had a lot of really great shapes, really interesting shapes. They were all unvarnished, unstained. They're all kind of natural. And I remember buying this pipe, and I remember also buying two of his really most famous blends. One was Scottish Ribbon, and the other one was Pickwick, which was this English blend. I remember just being in there, just hanging out with him and his associate, just having like a best time. I do remember it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and Mike said, you know what would really be great right now would be a little bit of scotch. And I kind of remember that to this day, because I wasn't drinking scotch at that time. But now that I started drinking it, it's like I get these thoughts every when 4 o'clock comes around. Oh, scotch at 4, that would be a good thing. I don't do that every day at 4, of course, but it would be a good thing. But for me, the story was just like, I'm from this small little town in Pennsylvania, and I go to the big city and to this store, which I think has been very, he's been in the business for many years. He's since retired and closed the store, but it was a famous store, and he had a lot of famous blends. And you can still
it was
find a lot of
a
his
tiny place at Rockefeller Center. Yeah. And they had actually connoisseur pipes in high demand now.
You can buy them. You buy them on eBay or from vendors. Yeah, they're very much in demand. So that's it's my story.
Nice. It's cool. You still got that stumble. So hopefully you bring it back to life one day, bud.
Yeah, I'll put another stem on it. It won't be a big deal. Great smoking pipe.
Let's see who else has got a story. Turn that off there. Fred Eisensee. Fred, are you still in the house here? I'm not sure. Fred might have. Ron Smith. Look at Ron. Now Ron is a man who is a man of international mystery. Certainly has a story or two to tell. Ron, regale us.
Well, let me just say howdy. Been away for a long time. Finally got a break from the shop, so I thought I'd come and visit you guys, see how you all doing. By the way, you're going to be in Chicago next week.
Unfortunately, I won't be in Chicago. I have too many conflicting work-related stuff going on, but I will be in Vegas. Are you going to be in Vegas there, Ron?
No, can't do Vegas. Yeah, but whatever. But anyways, hope to see a bunch of you guys in Chicago if you all can make it. And that's
I'll make a comment here just because we're running short on time, but I want to get back to Ron's stories in a second. So we will be dark next week, so we won't have a meeting. And next week is the week of the Chicago Pipe Show. Do want to give a plug to that. If you're in the area, just go stop on by. But since we won't have any live coverage of the Chicago Pipe Show, I would be very grateful if anybody takes some video or some snapshots of the show. If you want to send it in to me, then we'll make a little reel out of it, and we'll show it in 2 weeks when we've got the next meeting, and that way we can all sort of see what the show was like, even if we're not there. So I'll put something up on the Facebook group so you can do that. But Ron, let's get back to Ron.
I'm sure the Facebook group will be overflooded with pictures of the show. I'll be taking a few. Sally, the pipe tart, always takes some of the best of that show, and so I'm sure she'll have it. But as far as happy stories, some of the best are actually the ones that occur in the smoking tent of that show, and anybody who's been to the show, I think can probably, recollect on the happy moments, seeing all the old friends, all the pipe makers you wanted to meet, and having everybody show off their new purchases from the show. It is just one of those great occasions where if you can get there, like Mecca, at least once, once in your lifetime, but I think you'll probably want to be coming back because it is, I guess, the largest assembly I know of where people who share our passion for the Briar or the Meerschaum or the Morta, as it may turn out. We'll gather for once a year, and just about anything in terms of either tobacco or pipes or pipe related material, and sometimes a lot of materials that'll eventually find their way back into the shops and ultimately into a pipe can be found. So it's kind of like our version of Christmas in the springtime. And this year ought to be particularly good. David was there last year. I don't know how many of you other guys might have made it, but the new facility at Lincolnshire, very close to O'Hare Airport, is just a wonderful in comparison to the setup we used to have back at the old resort in St. Charles. So that's happy moments, and those dinners. David, you got to join us for the first time last year, and you were part of the stuffed pizza night, which has become a German tradition for the Chicago shows. And the crowd continues to grow, but unfortunately, you're not going to be there. Stefan's not going to make it. Manfred's not going to make it. Janos and Nectarios and Merrick and some of the others who joined us will be there, but going to miss you guys who cannot make the trip.
I love the pizza night. And if it keeps growing, I don't know, we're going to have to find a new pizza partner because we practically took over one whole end of the banquet room of this place where they took us. And if we keep growing, we're going to be taking over the whole restaurant.
Well, it's going to be a smaller crowd this year. Hopefully next year we'll kind of get back to it. Last year, if you'll recall, they had to schedule the thing on a holiday weekend, and that also coincided, if you'll recall, with a lot of the graduations. So you know, a lot of a lot of the recent graduates just coming from the ceremony were having their celebrations at the same time we were trying to celebrate.
This is
BR,
neat.
I'm back in the room, so I'll just give you a little story. I guess it's a couple of years ago. I guess I had my aha moment sitting on the back patio smoking a pipe. I've got a real good friend of mine that's a blender, and he blends up about 60 blends and had several samples. And I filled one of my pipes with one of his blends and didn't smoke it that day. The next day, I sat out on the porch, and that was my aha moment. I mean, that was the best bowl of tobacco I had. For the love of me, I can't remember exactly what it was, and I've tried several of his blends and will keep doing that. But that was just, I mean, it was the best smoke that I've had. Uh, and it was just such an enjoyable time and relaxing time. And I guess the other thing that I really enjoyed was Missouri Meerschaum's 150th anniversary, that we got to tour the factory and just see how the pipes were made. That was really an enjoyable time for me. So just thought I would pass that on.
I love that story. And by the way, I think gives birth to a brand new saying. You guys have heard the saying. We used to say this in the military: all "Smoke 'em if you got 'em." Right? I think this should be now our new way of saying it: "Smoke 'em when you got 'em," because you never know if you're going to get them again. So that's my contribution to it. All right, so we're down to the wire on our time today. I want to just say thank you to everybody for being here, and what really awesome stories. I know we got more. Maybe we'll do this another day. How would you guys feel about that? Just maybe continuing with the fond memory, kind of going down memory lane. I'll remember not to talk politics and taxes and stuff like that on the same day.
My apology.
Oh no. No worries, Miguel. No, Miguel's not necessarily a shy man. He's very good in conversation, but he's also very humble. And I know that during our meetings, he really makes an effort to let everybody else talk and everybody else take center stage. And today was like the first time I've heard him say, like, I'm gonna sit up and talk for a long time. So it definitely found a topic that will get Mike Miguel involved.
You found the burr in his butt.
Glenn, do you have any Canadian joke, Glenn?
I do.
Oh, there we go.
Where are the most Canadian tobacco chewers found?
What? Where?
In Saskatoon.
Hey, I only live 2 hours from there.
Oh, Glenn.
Just a lick and a spit away.
All right, I don't know what happened to my buttons. They crapped out. All right, so that's a sign. That's a sign that we need to bring today's meeting to another close and another great meeting with everybody. Thank you all for being here. Next week, as I said, we will not have a meeting, but if you're at the Chicago Pipe Show, man, have a great time. I wish I could be there. I really do. As you may or may not know, I travel quite a bit for work. And last year I was on the road so much that I just didn't get a whole lot of other stuff done. So this year we had to take a look at the calendar and say, DDR, you can only go to these different places. So I'm going to Vegas. And so Vegas is where I hope to see all you guys. But for those of you who are in Chicago, I wish you the best. I'm going to be jealous, and I hope you have a wonderful time. For today, though, have a great weekend. Take care of yourselves. We are now, I think, in a phase of new diseases and pandemics where it's like what we're going to have to live with, just like the flu, just like seasonal allergies, whatever. But you still want to take care of yourself. So do what you need to do and come back and see us next week. All right?
Thank you, guys.
Have a
Thank you,
great
DDR.
weekend, y'all.
Good to see you
Have a
guys.
good one,
Take
guys.
care.
Have a good evening.
Take care, everybody.
Have a good week, everybody.
Stay
Smoke with
blessed,
Chicago.
be careful.
Take care, everybody.